Flyers Podcast.
Hello, welcome to episode number 50-something. I don't know what one it is, Sam.
54.
Is it 54?
She said that's 55, and I'm sure I'm 53.
I hope it is 55 because we've got a very special guest that wears number 55.
Is it meant to be 55?
I don't know. I don't really plan it these days, do I?
You're potentially giving it away there, mate, although the title of this pod will give it away. So.
Yeah, it definitely will. I'm Joel Osborne. Here's Sam Hardy, as always. Thank you very much for listening to the Bristol Flyers podcast. We've got producer Dan over there pushing all the buttons. Dan, how's it going?
Very well, thanks, gentlemen. I'm very happy to be on epised 54. I can confirm.
It is 54.
It is 54.
One short. No way.
Oh, that's fine.
Good planning there by me.
Yeah, but we'll come to that later, actually, because it was meant to be a 55, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Don't you
was.
worry. Hey, and Dan, how's your week been, my man?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, I seem to always be on the podcast just after Bristol Flyers have won, but that seems to be the case all the time recently. So it's been great.
6 straight wins now in all competitions for the Flyers. The Flyers are literally flying. Dan, did you watch both games last week?
I managed to watch the Newcastle game. Yeah, very good. Very, very impressive, as it always seems to be these days.
Yeah. And T-John Lucas with a killer performance on Thursday. You know, it's amazing what a few pork scratchings and Scotch eggs can do, isn't it?
Thursday was not fun for the viewer, Joel. I will say that
Well, it was squeaky bum time, wasn't it, in the fourth? But we got there over the line in the end and a 4-point win. We'll take it.
We'll take. To be fair, you know, we will take a win, won't we?
Yeah, exactly. And T-John Lucas, like you say, with a massive performance. All thank you to Schnackman Matt, our resident schnack expert from the Bristol Sport office. I have to give a shout out to Schnackman Matt, by the way, because funny story actually. At the game, he was at the game on Saturday against the Newcastle Eagles, and apparently one fan went up to him and just shouted "Schnacks" at the Wise Camp. Just shouted "Schnacks" at him. So he's a bit of a celebrity around these parts now.
Is it also the chiropractor? Have you got that? Is that something you were going to talk about or not? From who does the stuff with the Flyers? He's their chiropractor, or is he a physio? Who is that?
The sports clinic.
Yeah,
they actually sent us they posted on IG. They had a post on Insta saying they got new schnacks in the office, and I couldn't help myself but to comment saying we do love a schnack.
Mate, it is reaching far and wide here. The fans are probably bored of it, but we love it, don't we? So
yeah, we also had an email come through actually to the podcast, and this one is from Flyers fan and fellow podcast listener Michelle Packer, and this one's good, Sam, because this is very schnack related. They sent an email to Schnackman Matt from the Bristol Sport ticketing department, and the email says, "Hi Matt, my husband and I have just watched you and your schnacks on the podcast number 53. Our son says that you are the kind gentleman who reserved our Bristol Flyers 23-24 wheelchair season tickets for us. We can't thank you enough for doing that. Being mobility challenge is very frustrating, and now knowing that we can be whisked from the lobby straight through to the basketball court every home game with just a quick show of our pass and stamp on a wrist means a lot. Also, now that we've managed to secure them once, we'll be able to get them on online so much more easier in future seasons. We're so grateful for your support, Matt. Stay safe. Kind regards, Jeff and Michelle Packer."
well, that is just lovely. And actually, if you do ever have a chance to call the office and about tickets and speak to Matt, it will be an experience. Is that not right, Joel?
Yeah, and do shout schnacks at him down the phone line because I heard he absolutely loves it. Schnackeel O'Neill, I heard he's called.
Stop it. No, you don't. Can we, Dan? Can you go back through and delete that little bit, please, mate?
Yeah, that's gone. Don't worry.
Great stuff. Right, I guess it's time for us to introduce our guest, because we'll talk about both games in a bit more detail. And it wouldn't be the podcast without a guest. And this week, we've got ourselves a big guest, quite literally, because Bristol Flyers Centre Brad Greene joins us in the studio. Brad, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you guys?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for spending some time out of your busy schedule this week to come join us here on the podcast. How are you enjoying your time in Bristol so far? Because you haven't had a chance to really catch up with you off the court. It's your first time here on the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good. I'm really getting along with all my teammates. I mean, obviously, being on this win streak we're on right now is incredible. Going to Bulgaria with everyone was a bit of an experience, both travel times and just their initial impressions of I mean, it was a great time, but I mean, I'm loving the city. Gone on a few runs, seen the city, like walked it around. I like it a lot. It's been a good time.
I was going to say, I've seen on Instagram a few times you posting some of your excursions around Bristol. You've been up to the bridge a few times, Suspension Bridge?
Yeah, I've been up to the bridge a few times. I've walked around Stoke Park. I mean, it looks like Jurassic Park over there, just walking around the hills. I mean, no dinosaurs, but you see a few cows here and there. But I mean, it is a good time. I like it a lot.
Amazing. What other places you've been to in Bristol so far? Because there's a lot to explore while you're down here in the UK.
Oh, no, for sure. I mean, I try to walk around a little bit every weekend, every off day I get. Not real fan of driving around in cars, so I kind of be out on my own. I'll walk over to the bridge, walk through downtown, the city center. And then I got lost one day walking through some trees, and I don't know where I was. I ended up going around in circles for a little bit, and I took the wrong turn, and it ended up being almost an hour walk home. So.
We'll love to see it. That's exactly what it's all about, getting lost in the city. Great to see.
That is amazing. Now, I see that you are rooming with Tevin this year.
Yeah.
How's that going? What's it like?
It's going good. I mean, he'll yell something out of his room, walking out the door, and I mean, I remember that it was just a few days ago. He shouted something at me, and I was like, "What?" And the next thing I heard was footsteps going down the stairs, out the door, and I didn't see him for the rest of the day.
But, like, oh, I'm going. See you later, mate. Something like that, isn't it?
But no, it's a great time. Tevin's a good guy. He's real funny. We get along really well, so I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, and some great characters on the team this year as well. Just talk us through some of the. It seems like you guys are all getting on. Not only on the court but off the court as well. Just talk us through some of the characters we've got on the team this year.
I mean, there's quite a few of characters. I mean, I think the biggest thing we've been bonding over is just differences in how we talk, just with different words. I mean, Pasquale and Corey have some great impressions of both of you, but also of quite a few of us on the team as well. Like if we say something, they're right there to say like, "What do you mean by that?" So I was told I say dog a lot when I talk. So anytime I'm around and I say hi, they won't even say mate or lad anymore. They'll say, all right, dog. So
I
I'm like,
that.
So I mean, we got a few of them. I mean, we got them. Anytime we're out at a meal, I mean, you guys have seen some of them. Like anytime we're at a meal, there's something that sparks a conversation or a debate, and then it's just everyone going back and forth with their pieces. So I mean, it's a real good time. I mean, everyone gets along well. Everyone can really talk and argue. So it makes quite a bit of fun. One of the biggest debates we've had, where they were yelling around for hours in the weight room. And then we're on a bus after a game, and conversation sparked back up. It was who would win in a fight, Batman or Spider-Man?
I overheard this conversation on the bus.
The absolute yelling that happens in this conversation is absurd.
Who was arguing for Batman and who was arguing for Spider-Man?
I can't even recall right now. It was.
I think Roel Graham Bell is a huge Batman. Is it a huge Batman or Spider? I can't remember.
Yeah. So Ro was all about Batman, and then TJ was really going for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then I mean everyone's yelling their piece and about who's winning. So I mean, I think it's just conversations are out of nowhere and about any topic.
I'd love to get a fly on the wall in these conversations. I think what we need to do is maybe just get 4 or 5 of the lads just to sit down here in the studio. Sam and I take a week off from the podcast and just let them debate and put it out as the next episode. What do you reckon?
You reckon that's PC enough or not?
Have the bleeper at the ready.
I mean, if you put a little beep button even on the table, just have somebody ready anytime something starts.
So it's not even bad.
I don't know why they're arguing. That debate's really easy though. It's obvious.
I thought so, but some of the points that get brought up, you can tell why it was a debate for so long. Like it really makes your mind run.
Yeah.
It's like the wheels or doors debate, isn't it? Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just. Have you heard that debate?
Yeah. What do you think more wheels in the world or more doors in the world? Are we going to go down this route, or are we not going to go down this route? I don't know.
I think it gets wild. Just I'm a firm believer there's more wheels than there are doors.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on wheels, Joel.
I don't know. There's doors everywhere, though, isn't there?
Yeah, but on every
cars have 4, sometimes 5 of them alone.
But then you got to think about some of the toys too. Toys got wheels, and then they don't got doors.
and every drawer you open has got little wheels to let it open.
Yeah, but just think about Monsters Inc. Do you know what I mean?
See, that thing is, there's those comments, there's those counters where you're like, you got a point there.
That's it. There we go.
I love it.
We just grabbed you, Brad, actually, from a Flyers half-term holiday camp because you and the whole team were down there at Cottam School earlier today doing a player visit, weren't you?
Yeah. So we gotta practice a little bit, get some shots up, have the kids see like kind of the day-to-day things we do at practice. Then afterwards, we gotta do a little Q&A with them, talk with them, and then I was lucky enough to play one-on-one versus quite a few of them, and I came out undefeated today, so
I'm so glad you did. Imagine if you didn't get that kid signed up.
Imagine, that'd be hilarious.
You were saying before that you were swatting kids to the halfway line when they were trying to shoot. So
hey, it's got to be done. No easy stuff up in here. Do you know what I mean?
but you got to enjoy like just their enthusiasm with getting their shot blocked, just being out there. Like, I mean, that's what makes it really worthwhile, is being able to just play, like, block a shot and have them be like, oh my god, like, good job. Like, it really makes you understand like how big it is to them to just be out there with them.
were you playing first to one, or were you doing a little first to three or something?
It was first to one.
So no one even got a shot away.
No.
Yeah, nice.
Defensive player of the year over here. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there you go.
It's been a busy week for Flyers players this week because obviously it's half term, so the players are out in force visiting all the half term camps that the Bristol Sport Foundation does. They're doing player appearances. They're going in pairs. So Corey and Keedy were down at the camp at Cottam School on Monday. Leslie and Tijon also went to the one at Merchants Academy on Monday. And we saw this great post on Instagram, if producer Dan can get it up on screen, from Tijon Lucas. And it says, had the amazing pleasure to coach some amazing kids today. Here's a view of the winning team today against Leslie Smith's team.
Just kids are taller than him.
But like this is how we inspire the next generation, you know. As a kid growing up, you know, I never had the opportunity for pro players to come into holiday camps. So Brad, how important is this for you as a professional player to be inspiring that next generation of players?
I mean, it means a lot. I mean, like I said, playing against them, you know, shows one thing, but also just having them out there watch us and then having a Q&A with them. I mean, I understand that, like, what that means to them, because like you said, like growing up, I didn't have that opportunity to be around anyone that was either in college or even playing professional. So just being able to be there with them, I mean, I know how big of a thing it is. And I mean, I'm lucky enough to put on my own camps too when I go home. So like already working with kids, already like being in those roles, coming out here today was cool to just be in a whole different community and being able to do that.
Yeah.
The most important thing about that post, so Dan, if you get it back up again, is it says at the bottom, here is the view of the winning team today against Les, and that's what he was making a big point of, wasn't it?
100%.
Beating Les.
It gets super competitive, I can imagine, you know, Team Tijon versus Team Leslie, and Team Tijon coming out on top.
That's so cool that you do your own camps back home. Have you done that for a few years now, or is that a new thing?
So this was my second year putting them on. I mainly do it in my hometown, and then there's a town north of me that I also help, but we open it mainly to Native American children. So we do age groups 8 to 18. So, I mean, it's quite a bit of a range, long days. My brothers helped me out with it. So, I mean, it gets to be a lot of fun. I was able to do them also for a Native American tournament that happens in Arizona. So I kind of like, you know, got to gauge it in the water a little bit, how to put them on. Being in college, you always help out with the kids' camps there. So, I mean, it gets one of those things where I really enjoy it, so it's a huge opportunity for me to continue.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think also, Sam, you know, you look at like the how easily accessible the players are here for Flyers. You know, it just creates that connection, doesn't it, between the fan base and the players. You know, you don't often see that with like, particularly with rugby or for football, but that's what makes Flyers so special, is the fact that the players are ingrained in part of the community. They're going out and doing these camp visits, and it's really great to see as well.
It's such a small thing, but even going after the games and be able to stand with them and sign the stuff and meet them or whatever, like the other teams don't really get that opportunity. It'd be too difficult to organize or to have security for, I suppose. But like that you guys do that is amazing, and everyone loves it. It makes it so popular, and it helps keep selling out these crowds as well, doesn't it, Joel?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really great to see. Let's talk about your time on the court so far for Bristol Flyers, and you've taken the league by storm so far this year. You're averaging just shy of a double-double. How have you found that adjustment to playing in the British Basketball League?
It's been a huge challenge. I mean, coming out the first game, it was like, you know, it was one of those things where it was really good to see, like, have one of those performances, kind of a confidence booster. And then like it kind of teetered for a little bit, just trying to figure out like what kind of the play was like, because it is a lot faster than other types of basketball that I've played. But I feel like just working as a team now, it's not so much like half court stuff. It's a lot of up and down. It's pick and rolls. It's just constant transition. So, I mean, it's been a little bit of an adjustment, but I feel like right now I'm getting a hang of it with the help of my teammates, like really being able to find me in situations.
Is that the biggest sort of difference, do you feel, maybe between like what you played in Europe last year in Austria and to the British game? Is just the speed? Is it quite similar to what you played at college, or is that different style as well?
I feel like it just depends, like the level and the where you are in college. In college, it was a lot more half court based, like especially how we ran our team. It was a lot more like, get into your things and get into offensive sets. Going in, playing my first year in Germany Pro A, it was a little bit of a transition because it got faster, but then you could tell like there was times where it slowed down. Last year in Austria, it was kind of a little bit better. It was a little slower, a little more back and forth. This year was definitely a lot faster. I mean, even going to Bulgaria to play in the EMBL game, I mean, it was first we had to go from this and then go transition to a different type of basketball. So, I mean, it is a big transition, but I feel like we're all getting the hang of it, and I feel like it's mostly just working together is what's helping us out a lot.
You talk about it being difficult or different in Bulgaria, but it didn't stop you being a big old bully, did it? You absolutely dominated in that game. I was watching on the screen being like, another one for Brad. You barely missed, did you?
I feel like I missed some of the bigger ones that were smaller shots in the beginning, but I mean, that was the thing. It was the way we were all transitioning into that kind of game. It was my teammates being able to find me in those situations. I mean, half the time I don't have to dribble because they're finding me in the correct spot where it really helps me out not having to do too much, and it makes it easier. But, I mean, it's still a big transition. Very, very, very physical in the Europe basketball.
Yeah, I know it's only one game so far that we played in Europe, and it's a small sample size, but are there many differences between the British Basketball League and the game against Bulgaria in terms of the way that's played? Is that slower, or is that still very, very quick, do you feel?
I feel like there's times where it's slower. Like, obviously, like there's a lot more slow pace and get into offensive sets when it gets to sides, but I mean, I feel like it's just situational. I feel like we've had games this year where we've been able to get into the post, get things slow, move the ball around on top. But then there's also been games where I felt like we were running for 6 minutes straight, just down and back. So I think it's opponent-based and very much so just the flow of what the game's looking like. Yeah.
Well, you're no stranger to playing basketball in Europe, because when you were playing for Kaffenberg Bulls last year in Austria, you were also playing in the Adria Cup. And for those that don't really know what the Adria Cup is, it's a very similar development league in Europe to the ENBL, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Tell us what that experience was like for you.
Yeah, so that was my first chance to really play European competition outside of like whatever country I was based in. But I feel like with the first game in that one too, I was kind of expecting how Austria was playing, how like I was like, oh, okay, like it's going to be like this speed. Getting that first game, and it was very, very physical. Just the way the other team played, the way we had to get into the sets and try to like fight. I felt like it was a huge difference. But then that's the thing, is as we were getting through other games, I felt like they all kind of just started to blend, just with not only like with getting used to the competition, but our team working together. We were able to force however we wanted to play. Yeah.
We had Tijon on the podcast last week, and we were talking about the game in Bulgaria, and obviously, that will always go down in Flyers history. You guys will go down in club history as the very first team to first of all play in Europe, but also to get that win in their debut. Like, how much does that mean to you as a player, just to know that, I know you've only been here for a month, 2 months now, but like to already be sort of written into the Flyers history books as part of the team that got their first win in Europe?
I mean, it was huge. I mean, I was ecstatic after the game, just for like, knowing that I was going to be a part of history like that. But I felt like what made it even more special was looking at Coach and seeing how happy he was, how like excited he was, because he's been here since the start of it, and just seeing his face being overwhelmed with excitement was, I mean, that made the whole trip worth it, just seeing him like that.
Yeah, it was amazing. And we spoke about it last week, but I mean, Coach just over the moon with that first win, and 19 years in the making, and now it's always been his ambition for the club to be playing in Europe, and then to not only play the first game but to win it. Just such a special moment for Flyers and for the fans as well.
Tijon was too scared last week to tell us whose idea it was to throw water over Coach, but you're like the biggest dude I know. So like, surely you're not scared of anyone, and you're willing to tell us whose idea it was.
I ain't gonna lie, I didn't know. I have no idea whose idea it was. I was in the I was in the locker room last, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to get Coach." So like when it started, I tried to throw water, but I was too far back in the room, and it looked like Coach already got enough of it. So I was like, "I'm just gonna sit this one out."
And who was it that said to you, "Hey, we're gonna get coach"?
He's not going to tell us.
He's not gonna tell us. That's cool. I appreciate it. You know, you don't want to throw your teammates under the bus and stuff.
I honestly don't remember. I sat down and everyone had water in their hand with the caps off. I was like, oh,
It's going down.
It's going down.
I made sure to get my stuff out of the way so I could have dry clothes to go home in.
Yeah,
Did other people get stuff ruined, like covered in water?
I know Coach had one set of clothes with him, right? So,
Yeah.
So the bus ride back to the hotel was pretty fun for him.
How far was the ride?
It wasn't too far. It was down the road, but I mean, still,
Yeah,
being
nice.
wet like that, being able to get back into a bus is.
Yeah, interesting. It's going to be a big game for you guys on Tuesday, of course, because Flyers now going to be playing their very first European game at home on Halloween night. How much are you looking forward to that one?
Oh, I mean, it's going to be a huge game. I'm really looking forward to it. Not only is it our second chance to play, but having a club like that come in and be at home in front of the fans, give the fans a chance to see another team that's, not from England or the UK. So I feel like that's a huge opportunity for them, but also for us to get a win like that at home would be huge.
Yeah, it would be massive. I mean, it's going to be a special night, isn't it? It's Halloween as well.
Well, actually, we've got someone, a sponsor, come in who's actually buying everyone gum shields that have got Dracula fangs on. Are you feeling happy about wearing that during the game, or?
Are they actually? No.
I was going to say that would be something.
Pretty cool.
Joel, that
How
is
did
too
you fall
easy.
for that, Joel?
Oh god.
You really got Joel happy on that one. He was
But
excited.
if CK Dental are listening, by the way,
Yeah, that's true, actually.
If CK Dental are listening, Cheryl, Cornelius, you know what to do. Hook them up with some Dracula fangs in time for Halloween. It'd be great. Brad, before we get to our quick fire questions, we like to do a thing with our guests where we like to run it back and we like to learn more about how our guests first got into playing basketball. And you grew up in Lone Pine, California, didn't you?
Yeah.
How was that as a kid growing up?
It was good. I mean, it's a very small town. There weren't many opportunities for sports. So growing up, actually my main sport was baseball growing up, and we played in a town that was an hour away. I mean, an hour here, isn't really nothing. Like, it's 30 minutes to drive, from across town. But at home, an hour is like that's a big difference from going city to city. So growing up, I played baseball mostly with my brothers, and then it kind of just got to that point where we needed to get a more competition than what we were playing. So we started driving 2.5 hours to a different town to play.
Yikes.
And then from there it was, okay, now I want to try basketball. And for basketball, I first played in Vegas, which is a 4-hour drive from where I live. And I mean, my mom and my grandpa were huge in that because they would drive me in during the week on a weeknight to go practice, drive me home. I'd go to school the next day, take me on the weekends at tournaments. So, I mean, just how much they're racking car mileage up to get me to these opportunities was huge.
Amazing. And were you? How old were you when you actually made that switch from baseball to basketball? And what sort of point was it? Was it when you sort of got to like a certain height? Because I imagine you were also quite tall when you were growing up as well.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I played. Our mom got us really into all the sports when we were younger, to try to figure out what we liked. Baseball was always the biggest one. But around 13. I went with my brother to a basketball camp, like the Michael Jordan flight school camp.
Oh wow!
My brother was a huge basketball fan. He really liked Michael Jordan, and I was kind of just there as like a plus one. I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. But then that camp actually was really good for me. I got moved. I was 13. I got put in the 17-year-old division because I was just way too big, they said. So I ended up playing in there, but I did really good. The coaches were all happy with me, and I started feeling like maybe this could be something. My first year of high school, I got hurt, so I played 2 months and then kind of didn't play nothing. But then my sophomore year was actually when I started playing basketball competitively, started playing those AAU tournaments, and so it took a while to get into basketball, but since then I've kind of taken off with it and kept it as my only sport.
Yeah, that's wild because you weren't really that early to it, whereas loads of Americans who play professionally now were, right?
Yeah, so that's the thing, that's what was a lot different. I mean, today, even at the kids camp, they asked us, when did you guys start? A lot of people were saying 4, 5, 8, and there was a few of us who were 13, 14, 15. So, I mean, it's not unheard of, but it's definitely very different.
And how tall would you be? Would you have been when you were 13 years old? Just for just for reference.
Well, how tall are you now? 6'11", yeah.
6'11" now.
Okay, cool. So 13.
13. I don't even know. Maybe 6'4", 6'5".
Wow.
I remember seeing a So like growing up, when you play baseball, you play any sport, you always get like a team picture, a little team card.
Yeah.
I remember we have one at home. It makes me laugh because just how big I am. But when you look at it, it says age 11, height 6'1", weight like 242 pounds. And I just looked, I was like, oh my, what?
Wow. Who have we got contact to get hold of this picture?
Who let this person play baseball? But I mean, I've always been big, always been tall. So I mean, steadily, through the years, it was always like, big jumps, both in weight and height. So,
yeah.
Dan, 242 pounds in stone. Go on, mate.
So I'll have a look now.
If
so bad
if any
over
of your
here.
family are listening to this podcast, and we would love to get hold of this picture and put it out on social. So if you're
That'd be
listening, please do get in touch with us because for reference, we would love to put this picture out online.
So if, like us, you don't know what pounds a stone is, 17 stone.
it's
Sheesh.
it's a 14. It's a 14 difference. Whatever the pounds are, I think you divide by 14, and you'll get stone.
Yeah, I can't do that math still. That's crazy though, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're a big 13-year-old man.
Huge.
Brad, you obviously attended the University of California, Irvine, where you played for 4 years. Just tell us what that experience was like.
It was huge. I mean, it was a great opportunity for me to, play college basketball. I never thought I'd get in that position, but being there my first year, I was definitely, not your typical basketball like stature and physique because it was a lot. But it was a good experience. Second year, got a little bit better. I actually sat out my third year because just with how our team was, we had a lot of centers, and I was still trying to develop my body, develop my skills. So me and our coaching staff came to the decision, to redshirt 1 year. Coming in after that, though, I felt like, it was my chance to finally play. Our centers left that were there before, so it was a huge opportunity. Really able to show what I was made of. And then obviously my senior year was another chance to play, but with COVID, it kind of had its ups and downs with how everything went. But I wouldn't be who I am today without gone to UC Irvine.
Yeah, I just got some stats here. You were named Big West Defensive Player of the Year in 2021. You were 9th on the program's all-time leader in career rebounds.
Oh my god! Just 6 more would have got you to 700.
Yeah.
Are you still thinking about that now, Brad?
Obviously, there's always those games where you could have done something more, but just to be on that list like that is huge. It shows how hard I've been working to try to, be who I am.
Yeah. Did you ever have any nicknames on the team when you were at college? Have you ever any nicknames in the squad, or any nicknames now, for example?
No, you guys saying Big Bad Brad is probably the most I've had as a nickname.
Yeah.
Mostly in school, it was just BG, just my initials. But, being who I am, usually you get big thrown in somewhere. Big fella, big man, big 55s.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a couple here for you to get your thoughts on. Obviously, you mentioned Big Bad Brad.
That's my favourite. I'll call that out. I didn't even ask you. I just call it out as loud as I can, man. I love it.
What do you think of Braddy the Baddie?
I remember you guys asked me about this one before, but
you a fan?
That's for sure a no-go.
The thing is, we're obviously doing it based off of USC
Paddy the
Baddie, who's obviously trying to be hardcore, but baddie's another word in America, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah, it's got double meaning. In the UK, it means you're pretty hard. In the US, it means something else. You can Google that yourself on the Urban Dictionary.
So Joel's calling it for one of those reasons. You can say Joel when you want.
Brilliant. Here's a fact that some people may not know, Brad, is that you actually played on the same team as GB international Luke Nelson during a time at UC Irvine. Is that right?
Yeah, so Luke was a senior my first year, so I got the opportunity to not only learn from him, but also, play alongside him for the season. And, he was always one of the guys on the team where I looked up to him. He's very easy to talk to, very outgoing personality, and he made it very easy to kind of transition into college basketball. And just having him as a senior was really good opportunity.
Yeah. We've obviously played against London once this season. Did you get a chance to catch up with him at the time, or not really?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit before the game, kind of mess around, which is crazy because he's the exact same person. So that made me smile. That made me really happy. He really hasn't changed. But then he's like, watch out for those moving screens. And so I knew something was gonna happen. And you could see in the game when he flies the half court from just running into me, and I get an offensive foul, but you know, it is what it is. It was a good game, and it was good to see him.
Was it a bit like that Kobe and Pau Gasol moment where he's like, I'm going to run straight through his chest?
He tried to, but I mean, I wasn't moving. So.
Loving it. It's amazing, isn't it, how everyone's got a link to someone else in the league somehow, like you played at college, or there's always someone. It's such a small basketball world. I mean, we say it on the pod all the time, but it's like such a small basketball world. Obviously, after that, you signed your first pro deal in Pro A in Germany. You spent the year at Kaffenberg Bulls, and then you joined Bristol. Just really quickly before we get to the quickfire questions, just tell us how the whole move to Bristol came about.
I mean, it was obvious decision. Talking with coach, I mean, the way he described how he wants to play, what he was expecting of me. It made the most sense to me just because it was something I was familiar with and somewhere where I felt like I could show how I could really play. My first 2 years were big learning. My first year in Germany obviously was because I was still trying to figure out who I was as a player. And but I felt like I developed a lot there just with how they coached, how they ran their system. And in Austria, again, it was a whole different thing. I mean, I was playing some games, I played 30 minutes. Some games I almost played 40. So, I mean, it was just like a weird thing trying to like figure out just like with the teams, with how everything worked. But, I mean, this summer talking with coach, I was very happy to get this opportunity to come here and play.
Yeah. What's it been like playing for Coach Kapoulis so far? Has it been everything you've expected so far?
Yeah, I mean, the way he talks basketball is really great. The way he talks with us in practices, I mean, really helps me understand, like, you know, things that I may not have been so clear on. But the way he, like, you know, draws pictures out how he expects things to happen really makes it easier to go out there and, like, you know, play as a team because he's just very receptive of our ideas as well. Like, if we have a question, if we have, like, something, like, we think should happen, he's very receptive of either saying yes or no and giving a very good explanation to where we can all be on the same page and understand.
Yeah, I mean, you won't find anyone that's more passionate about Flyers hoops. And,
absolutely.
And as Coach Kapoulis, I mean, he eats, sleeps, and breathes Flyers basketball. It's you know, it's really great to see, and it's great to see you settling in so well as well. Now here you are in the Flyers uniform.
We obviously don't get to like meet you before or anything, but we get to see all the highlights. We know you're coming in, and we were so excited for you because we've not had a traditional like big man in a long time, and so seeing you play out there, it's working, isn't it, Joel? Yeah,
it's great. It's amazing. It's great to have you on the team, and great to see you settling in so well as well. And best of luck. Let's hope it continues for the rest of the season. So yeah. Brad, thanks for joining us. That was a great chat, I thought. That was really good.
Really great.
Good chance to do a little catch up, get to learn Brad a bit more. We're going to get to learn Brad even more now with our quickfire questions segment, Sam. So Brad, with every guest we have on the podcast, we give them 30 seconds on the clock to answer as many questions as they possibly can in 30 seconds. There is a score to beat, which producer Dan knows what it is. Producer Dan?
It's 11.
11. Who got 11?
Well, I can't remember who got it. I know this season, RGB got 9. Which was pretty impressive. But of all time, it's 11.
Oh, really? Well, I've only got 10 questions on my list, so hopefully we don't get to 11. Hopefully we don't get to 11. If not, I'll think of one on the spot. Yeah. But Brad, you have 30 seconds to answer as many questions.
Let's do it.
Producer Dan, can we get the lights down low, please? Going all red. Don't get nervous, Brad.
You should.
You have 30 seconds on the clock to answer as many questions as you can. Your time starts now. What's your favourite basketball movie?
Oh my God. Rebound.
What did you study at college?
Sociology.
What is your favourite month of the year?
May.
Who is your favourite Disney character?
Hercules.
Who is the biggest joker on the team?
Corey.
What was your last search on Google?
Directions to here.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh my God. Pass.
Pass. Oh. It was all right. You felt the pressure a little bit there, Brad, but it's all good. You know,
I felt like it was the music that got me more than anything.
Do you know what I love more than anything about this is everyone believes it's you've got to give the correct answer.
You don't need to give it an
My mind blanked on the first question. I had no idea.
Oh, Rebound, by the way. What movie?
What a movie.
What a movie.
Was that the one where the kid comes in, the sledgehammer? It's like, substitution, ref, I got to bring in the sledge. He comes in slow motion. Oh, my goodness. What a movie. Producer Dan, get the lights back to blue, please. Thank you very much.
Magical.
Just like magic. There we go. And great. What was the score, Producer Dan?
I think it's a solid 7.
Solid 7.
I'll take it.
Karaoke song doesn't count. That was a pass.
What is your karaoke song? And can you give us a little bit here in the budget?
I mean, it really depends, you know, the situation of what's going on.
Yeah.
Your auntie's birthday.
See, so like, my last one I sang, I think at karaoke was I think we're at some Western restaurant place, so I ended up singing "Callin' Baton Rouge" by Garth Brooks.
Okay.
You know, it was one of those songs where I remember it when I was growing up, and so I knew nobody would expect me to sing that song, so it was really something.
Do you have a little voice on you, do you?
I do not.
I was going to say, we're going to ask for a little symphony there, but...
No, I do not.
Should we, go on, Dan.
I have no idea how that song sounds. Brad, how does it sound?
You know, on the top of my head, I can't remember.
Well avoided, Brad. Well avoided. Sam, let's get to the news.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Before we get to the news, we want to say a huge thank you to our new podcast sponsor, WebGains, the affiliate marketing network where brands go to win. And Sam, what do you think has been the biggest Bristol Flyers win so far this season?
Well, for me, Joe, it has to be the fact that we went to Europe to play our first ever game, 19 years in the making for Coach K, and we come out against Pleven with a huge win in Europe. First time ever. I'm absolutely buzzing about it.
Yeah, it was a little bit of Bristol Flyers history, wasn't it? And wins like that would not be possible without the help of partners just like WebGains. Now, they've been involved with the club since 2020, and a lot of you may be thinking, what is affiliate marketing?
Should we ask Siri?
Here we go. Let's try it. Hey Siri, what is affiliate marketing?
Affiliate marketing is a performance-based online advertising strategy where individuals or businesses promote products or services and earn a commission for each sale or action generated through their referral.
Amazing. But it does feel like a lot more people are getting on board with affiliate marketing. And Sam, even our back of short sponsors at Hoopin and Luton have started an affiliate marketing program for the huge range of basketball jerseys that they sell.
So if you're looking to learn more about affiliate marketing or how to generate more web sales through the affiliate channel, then head to webgains.com to find out more.
This is the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Right, time for us to take a look at what's been going on around the British Basketball League this past week. And Sam, we've got to start by talking about the two games at the weekend, starting on Thursday.
I'm going to tell you my honest opinion, Joel. At one point in the game, we were winning by 18, and I was like, we have 100% won this game.
Yeah.
And about 10 minutes later, I was sat there, squeaky bum time, Brad, and I blame you for that. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean, Flyers, they led by as many as 18 points in the third. Manchester rallied back in the fourth to make it a close one down the stretch.
They went ahead at one point, didn't they?
They did. They took a lead very, very briefly, and there was another three they took very late in the game, chance to take the game, and we were able to hold on. And Brad, it was some offensive rebounds once again down the stretch, especially Rowe Graham Bell, a huge offensive rebound, and you guys just able to squeeze away with it in the end.
Yeah, no, that was a that was a rough one. Obviously, you know, we did have the lead, and we were like, one of those attitudes where like, all right, like let's just keep it going. And I mean, it's just one of those things in basketball where, you know, one or two things can happen and the whole game changes. So I felt like we were really resilient in the end, being able to just, you know, battle back in times and really hold them off.
Yeah, I mean, all five starters in double figures. And I guess that just makes us a really tough team to guard, you know, when you've got like five guys going off like that for you know, hitting multiple points. And yourself, you had a big double-double as well.
Yeah, I feel like what makes it so, I mean, honestly unique too on a team is everyone's so unselfish on like making sure like the best play is being made. Like it's not like we have one or two guys like high double digits or just crazy numbers. Like it's one of those things, like you said, like all the starters were in double digits, and like I mean we even had bench points come in because like it was just that whoever's ready to score, whoever's ready in these opportunities got those chances in. I mean, we're all able to convert, which was really nice.
Yeah. T-John Lucas, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists to earn himself a place in the British Basketball League Team of the Week. As you mentioned, Brad with a big double-double, 12 and 11. And Keedy Johnson leading the way with 20 points. And I want to talk about this because it was one huge layup poster dunk. It was crazy. He like just floated in air. It was crazy.
You've seen the video, yeah?
Yeah, I've seen the video.
You were on the court at the same time.
I was right behind him, and I was like, I was thinking it was coming off just with how like high he got, but no, he got it. I'm like, damn.
Why didn't he dunk it? Is what I want to know.
I felt like he didn't understand how high he was because I mean it was one of those things where afterwards, you really look back on it, you're like,
Yeah, it was like Super Mario. You know when you like do double jump. And
oh, for sure.
he went up, and then all of a sudden he just kept going up. It was amazing.
Here we go.
It's like I think we put a caption that we put a post of it out on Instagram, and it's like when you have the 2K layup sliders up to 99. It was literally like that. It was like the most powerful layup I've ever seen.
I think more players should do it as a power play. They go up ready, two-hand to jam it, and they just lay it
It's
off
like
the
a
top
low-key
of the
flex.
square. That
No,
would be a proper flex.
it's for sure a statement, like saying like I got this high and I'm going to finish with a layup. Like it's a real
The
smack
height and the jelly,
It's a real
that's
smack
it.
in the face.
We put that clip up on Instagram, by the way, and it's got like nearly 500,000 views right now. So I think it just sparked a lot of conversation because everyone's just like, oh, why on earth did you dunk that? But it was great. Yeah, it was good. And we got a great clip for socials out of it. So I feel like my job's done.
And that's all that matters, isn't it, Joel?
Well, we got the win as well. So
Oh,
that's
yeah,
all I-
right.
The 4-point win and a viral clip on social media. Job done for that game. Let's talk about Saturday. Of course, 6 straight wins. The Flyers made it in all competitions. 14-point win over Newcastle. And this one, it just ended up becoming a dominant display on the offensive boards, didn't it?
I was a bit disappointed, Brad. I didn't think you got quite enough rebounds, actually, right? You got 19 points and 17 rebounds, Joel.
What does one have to do to get 17 rebounds in a game?
Being in the right position.
Is that all it is, or I mean, it's all about anticipation as well, isn't it? With especially on the offensive end.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of looking at who's shooting the ball, where they're shooting it from. But I mean, it's also very, very physical because I mean, you can be in the right position, but then there's always going to be someone there pushing you, like fighting you. So, I mean, it's just all about the effort you give. I mean, that was one thing they really taught us in college was it's about the effort you give on the court. So I mean, not only do you have to be in the right position, but you got to be fighting for that position the whole time.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a 20-20 game?
No.
Because you said before you had 20 rebounds,
I've had
haven't you?
20 rebound games, but I don't think I scored quite enough in those games.
But you're so close.
We'll get you a 20-20 this season, okay?
It's coming.
We'll really try.
Flyers, they out-rebounded Newcastle 54-28 in that game. Flyers, 22 offensive rebounds as a team. 8 of them pulled down by you, Brad. And it's always been like Flyers' identity over the last particularly last two or 3 years in the British Basketball League to crash the offensive glass. But even more so this game, it literally it felt like I think the stat was something like just over half of the rebounds taken by them on the offensive end. So we were getting half of our misses essentially, and putting them back.
Do you know what? It's not even that. You got 8, and I think Rowe got 9.
Yeah.
And their whole team, the whole game, what did they get? 5?
Offensive rebounds? Yeah, I think it's something
their
like 5,
whole
yeah.
team got 5, and there's you and Rowe just like, this is man now. I don't care.
Well, Tevin Ollison, 27 points, and you mentioned about Rowe, 16 points, 11 rebounds, and he nearly had a double-double by the end of the first quarter. He sort of set the tone, didn't he, early in the game, and then everyone else just kind of picked up from there, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, when someone comes out with energy like that, you can only try to match it. So I mean, I feel like he really set the tone for us to really fight and get after it. And I mean, he had to go out, but then when he came back on, he was ready to fight again. Like he was all over the court that night. And I mean, he had a huge game.
Yeah.
I was a bit gutted about Tev on the last shot of the game. He was on 27 points and you guys were on 97 points. If that last 3 just bounced out of the back had gone in, it would have been a 30-point and 100-point game, which would have been a bit tasty. I mean, that's just for our ego, though, really. It doesn't really matter. So,
well, sometimes they do those things in the States where like a sponsor gets involved and then they like, if the team reaches 100 points, everyone gets like
fried chicken.
Yeah, and everyone's chanting in the crowd like, "We want chicken." Do you know what I mean? So we don't do anything like that. Maybe we should do that.
We should do something like that. It'd be amazing.
Honestly, that just reminds me of the movie Semi-Pro when they have to get corn dogs and you have Will Ferrell just tackling people out there.
Yeah, I remember.
Because he can't afford to pay for it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Corn dogs, Jackie. Corn dogs for all these people.
Corn dogs, Jackie. Oh, I love it.
What a movie. That result, by the way, against Newcastle, moved Flyers into second in the league, 6-3 on the season, 6 straight wins in all competitions, and it all sets up a great game this weekend, because on Friday we're taking on third in Cheshire Phoenix. How's preparations been going this week for that one, Brad?
I mean, it's going good. I mean, we've been in the weight room. We've been, practicing hard, trying to just get in the right mindset to move through these next few days to really dial in to personnel and actions of their offense runs. So, just trying to get into the groove of it and hopefully come out and get a win.
You've been in the weight room working hard or working out who's going to win in a fight between Spider-Man and Batman?
I've been working out,
A lot of discussion in there as well, I reckon.
but some good discussions going on also.
Great stuff. Tickets for that game, by the way, they're still available over at bristolflyers.co.uk. I think the time of recording is around 40 or 50 tickets left.
Okay.
We're recording this episode on a Tuesday. So if you listen to the podcast and want to come along, watch Flyers on Saturday, it's expected to sell out. So if you go get your tickets, get them quickly over at bristolflyers.co.uk. And it should be another great night of Flyers hoops. Here's a bit of news for you, Sam. And we haven't had a bit of British basketball beef in a while.
Oh, we didn't have the sound still, do we?
I think we should make it again. Should we make the sound again?
Last time we tried to make the sound, it was there was a little bit of distortion, wasn't it? So we should do it again.
Yeah, so we're going to do this again. So we'll record the... Brad's
Be ready for this,
Brad's just
Brad.
looking over it like, what on earth is going on? Basically, we're going to run we have a segment called British Basketball Beef, and it's sponsored by Cow and Sow, who I'm sure you guys are very familiar with by now. And part of it is anytime there's beef around the league, we play the sound and then we talk about the beef.
Yeah,
but
like
we
that.
haven't recorded the sound yet, so we're going to go record the sound right now. Right, so it's going to go like this. It's gonna go, it's time for British Basketball Beef. Sponsored by Cow and Sow.
Did you want a bit of sow in there as well, Joel?
Yeah, go on. I mean, do you reckon you can make something work with that?
Yeah, we'll do something
Yeah?
like that. Yeah, nice.
Sweet. Perfect. Right. Let's get to the beef, because that's what we're all here for. Here's a look at something that's quite interesting. Did any of you watch the Newcastle Eagles versus Leicester Riders game
goodness me.
on Friday night? Did you watch it?
It was. Do you know what? I turned it on in a bit of this will be alright, and I turned it on right as the beef started, and it was exciting.
You tuned in just in time. Producer Dan, did you watch this game?
No, I've not seen this. What's this?
Well, you are in for a treat, my friend, because I can tell you, it all kicked off. 2 players ejected. Will Neighbour and Taj Greene both took an early shower. Here's the clip that producer Dan you put it on the screen right now. I sent it to you earlier. You see a ruckus entails. I mean, Taj Greene getting knocked down to the floor. Him and Myron Thomas both chasing down a loose ball. Pushing and shoving going on. Thomas knocks Greene to the floor. And then, you say, Taj Greene gets up, he claps in his face. Greene picks up a technical foul. Ruckus comes after that. It's handbags all over the place in this clip. If you're watching the YouTube version, you can see it on your screen. And then Larry Austin, there's a point from Caleb Asprey. Larry Austin pushes his hand away. And then I don't know why on earth Taj Greene stood out on the court after that, but there's a blocking foul called against Johnson. And then straight after the whistle, Taj Greene comes out of nowhere and completely knocks the player, Asprey, to the ground. That's his second unsportsmanlike foul. He's out of there. He gets an early shower. You see Malcolm Delpesh just trying to calm Taj Greene down as well. Got a feel for Malcolm Delpesh here because Taj Greene is all fired up. Malcolm Delpesh is just saying, just calm down.
Come on.
Because he's off for an early shower.
Are we saying that the very, very first thing that happened was a foul by the other dude on Taj Greene?
I'll tell you the very, very first thing that happened here, and that was the British Basketball League put out because these two teams played a week ago or 2 weeks ago at the Virtue Motors Arena. So the British Basketball League put out a clip on social media of Caleb Asprey mic'd up, and they won the game, and he was talking smack in this clip. And so obviously that was going around the Newcastle Eagles group chat. And then obviously they're playing each other like a week later, so at the same place. So it all started kicking off. From the get-go, you could tell this game was fiery. And then all of a sudden, there was pushing and shoving all game, and then it just sort of blew up in the third.
But I was confused because everyone keeps saying that Taj Greene got fouled by. Is it Asprey who he fouled, or he gets?
Yeah, he got called for that foul. So
who got called for the foul though?
that was a foul on Taj Greene.
Yeah, but if you Dan, can you put it back up again? I feel like, hey, this is just me, but it feels like Taj Greene runs into him. Look, he like shoulder.
Yeah, but you're supposed to run straight, and he wasn't running straight. He was running straight into Caleb Asprey there. Is it Myron Thomas? Myron Thomas.
One more time, Dan. I want to see this one more time because I'm not convinced still.
Started from the top.
Start from the beginning.
He's going to start it from the top. He's running right at him.
Oh,
He's not going for the ball.
It's a bit of 6 to 1 half of the dozen of the other, isn't it?
Brad, what did you make of the whole ruckus?
No comment.
Nah, I love beef. I love it when there's beef on a court.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's very you just can't do that on a court.
Yeah. Well, they were very well behaved on Saturday in the end, weren't they? Dan, what did you reckon?
Well, there's definite beef there, but no wonder Brad doesn't mind beef. He's 6'11". Of course he doesn't mind beef. Nobody's messing with Big Brad.
No one started on Brad Greene.
Has anyone started on you this year?
There's comments that go back and forth, but then by the end of the game, everything's pretty calm down. It's like,
Talk us through
what
some
a
of
game.
so talk us through some of like the. Is there a lot of trash talk? Like, talk us through the trash talk out there on the court. Are you getting a lot of trash talk in this season?
So I personally don't get a lot of trash talk. People like Corey or Tev might get a little bit more, just because they like to instigate a little bit more than I do. But a lot of talks when are mainly like on the free throw line when someone's shooting, and just basic conversation. There's no real trash talk with me.
Do you have a go-to saying or anything you like to say to people, or are you like going through their Instagrams before tip-off when you're doing a scouting report to find stuff you can comment on and trash talk at all? Or
You ugly. You Instagram ugly.
No, I don't talk. I don't say a lot of things. One saying that we like say it in college, and then I kind of just say it a lot now, which people get really, really like they get really annoyed when you say it. But I'll call somebody like goofy or a goofball. And like something so basic like that really sets people off sometimes.
Amazing. We had Corey on the podcast last year, and he was saying the classic one. When you foul someone and they miss the first free throw, he's always going like, "Yeah, good foul, great foul." Like that's a go-to one.
You can see him clapping on the court, smiling. He's always up to something out there.
Yeah. He's a menace. He is a menace. We'll get him back on the podcast at some point this season. That'd be good. And that, by the way, is British Basketball Beef, sponsored by Cow and Sow. So I just done it again for you there. So you got two to work with, and we'll add some sounds in, make it all jazzy.
Exciting, mate.
And next time we'll push the button and it will make a sound for us. It'd be great.
Very happy.
We've pushed the Cheshire game, but we do have to talk about the Halloween game. Flyers, they're in action in their first ever game in the ENBL, and tickets for that one are also selling fast. It's on Tuesday, October 31st. And Sam, I don't know if I told you this, but there is fun for all the family to enjoy this Halloween.
I mean, I'm dressing up. You dressing up?
Maybe. I think I've got a fancy dress outfit.
I haven't yet. I'm going to have to go shopping this weekend, but there is what we're saying. So there is a fancy dress competition.
Yeah, we've got a fancy dress competition, so the best dressed will win a Bristol Flyers jersey. We've also got Halloween-themed drawing competition for the kids. They can design their own Bristol Flyers jersey, send it to us, and the winner will receive a pair of tickets to a future Flyers ENBL home game. We're also going to have a Halloween face painter available in the foyer at SGS, so the kids can get their faces painted ahead of tip-off. You've got some sweet trick-or-treat giveaways to throw out into the crowd, Sam.
Apparently I do. Didn't know that one.
So that'll be great.
And also there's the gum shield fangs that you're missing out on, John.
Oh, yeah. CK Dental, if you're listening, you know what to do. So, yeah, it'd be great. Dan, you are in the process of putting together our Juventus piece, aren't you?
I sure am.
We spoke about it on the podcast previously. We did the guide to Pluven.
Did you see that?
No.
Okay.
Oh, well, you go back and watch it, Brad. It's great.
Yeah.
Dan, how's it going so far with the Juventus prep?
Well, it's pretty good. I'm very excited by Juventus. They got some good players: Del Piero, Pogba.
Brilliant.
So looking forward to it. But
That's a soccer joke. That's for Brad, by the way.
Yeah. But I'm trying to find out more about. I think it's Utena.
Utenos Juventus, I think it is.
So they come from Utena. So I'm trying to find out more about them, and I've already seen they've got a monkey park.
Oh, really? There we go.
I mean, that's got me excited already.
There we go. So look out for that coming on the podcast next week. We're around next week. Is that,
yeah, next week.
Next week's podcast will be the day after the game, but we will run the guide to Utenos Juventus. I need to reach out to. I'll tell you who to reach out to. Aistis Keliauskas.
Yes.
He used to play for the Flyers back in Div 1, Lithuanian. He'll know all the pronunciations for the team, the players, everything. So I'm going to study ahead of that game, because you can watch that game over on the Bristol Flyers YouTube channel as well. It'll be myself, and I think Gareth's going to be here for it as well, and maybe a third guest, TBC, but I can't reveal who just yet.
That's for next Tuesday?
For Tuesday night.
Oh, I was just laughing at you because you're going to have to do the pronunciations, but I got to do the pronunciations too. I forgot
You
about
do,
that.
mate. You do. So maybe I'll get Aistis to record as a voice memo, and then I'll send it through to you via WhatsApp. What do you reckon?
And you're not allowed to get him to send me a fake one.
Oh, no, I'll just send you a fake. I'll just pretend to do it in his accent and just get them all wrong for you, and you butcher all the names.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Great stuff. Last bit of news from us. The British Basketball League has signed a US international TV deal with the New England Sports Network to stream broadcast, I think 2 games a week on their channel, which is great. So British Basketball League going overseas. Of course, those are only in the New England states. However, there also is, if I look at my phone, it's exclusive I can reveal to you, because I've just received a WhatsApp right now from the podcast from the league's head of communications, Anna Jones. Shout out, Anna. She says, afternoon all. Later today, I will share the announcement for our broadcast deal with... A little exclusive there for you. This will be out by the time...
Yeah, it's not that exclusive.
Yeah.
It's exclusive for me and Brad, but not for anyone else.
This will be out by the time the podcast comes out. So, I literally just got a text through now. So
Can't believe I'm going to start tweeting that out now, Joel. You're going to be in trouble.
there we go. Yeah, don't break the news just now, guys. But they're announcing. They're announcing it. Oh no, they're announcing it on Thursday afternoon. I'm gonna have to cut this out of the podcast. I just read the rest of the message.
Imagine if that had gone live.
Maybe I just bleep that bit of the
Yeah,
podcast.
bleep it, but keep it in.
Yeah,
then.
I'll keep it in. I'll just be like, bleep it. Yeah, so watch this space, because there could be a new American deal coming soon, but you don't know who. But I do.
Now I do too.
And Brad does too. Great stuff. Right, shall we get to the mailbag?
You're listening to the Bristol Flyers Podcast.
Right, time for us to wrap up this week's episode of the Bristol Flyers Podcast with our mailbag segment. And Brad, as always, we ask fans to send in their questions. We've got a bunch of questions that have come through from the Instagram, one from Twitter. Which one shall we go with first? Always said that one. Here's a question, Sam. Matt Childs.
Again.
Shock. Schnackman Matt from the Bristol Sport office on Instagram. Brad, he wants to know, what's your go-to schnack after a game?
I really don't know. A lot of what I eat after games or whatever I meal prep the night before. So
No little schnacks or anything like that?
no, usually when I cook, I mean, what would be 6 servings for a normal person, I turn into about 3. so I'll eat like my dinner. I'll eat it before the game, and then after the game, I know I have a big helping of food at home.
Do you know how many calories you consume a day?
I do not, and I don't want to count.
So I reckon it'll be a lot. Hey, big man's got to eat, you know?
Big man gotta eat.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Greenman23 on Instagram. Who's that?
That's my brother.
Okay.
Any relation to... Yes, here you go. What aspect of your game do you feel is the weakest, and what are you doing to improve it? Oh, that's quite a sensible question, I'd say. Or is that a dig? What do you reckon?
I feel like he's talking about my free throws right now, but for sure, I mean, free throws right now is one thing I should really work on. But one of the things I always have been trying to work on, like, as I've been always, developing through summers, through the seasons, is my speed and just overall quickness. Because I mean, I am big, so I have to like work on that a little bit more than most people. But I feel like that's something that I could really still improve on.
Great stuff. Bezzy Magic on X or Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, says, big up to the big man. My question is, do you think the traditional centre is underrated in the modern era of the game?
I don't think it's underrated. I think it's just unseen right now. I mean, obviously, like in the league right now, there's not many other traditional big men as myself. And I mean, but even in like the past 2 years where I've played, I've come across maybe 1 or 2 that are like traditional bigs. So I feel like they're just unseen right now. Everyone's turning to 3-pointers, and what a lot of people like to see are dunks. Now everyone likes to see, the big guy who just does hook shots and throws his body around. So, definitely an underrated person, I feel like.
Hey, I appreciate offensive rebounds and nice footwork post moves, all right?
Yeah, we love a baby hook. We love it.
We're here for a baby hook. Sam, you got the next question?
Okay, so Louis or Lewis.maybe on Instagram wants to know, who was your basketball idol growing up?
So growing up, I didn't really watch a lot of basketball. One person I always wanted to be better than was my brother. He was the only person that really I was always playing basketball with, whether it was at the park or playing 3-on-3 tournaments. So growing up, I always wanted to be like him. But when I started watching a little bit more and people started talking a little bit more, I liked DeMarcus Cousins a lot growing up. And then a lot of people compared me to Marc Gasol just with being a big body. So that's always one person I try to watch and figure stuff out from.
Yeah, fair. Nice.
Great stuff. Raf Thomas Edwards has been in touch with the podcast on Instagram. I don't know if this is a conversation we may have had in the weight room already, but he says, who is the strongest on the team? And he's put pound for pound at the end.
Pound for pound.
I don't know what he means by that.
No, but like for how heavy they are as a person,
like for how
who's
hot,
the
yeah.
strongest.
Because he's probably like, you're the strongest on the team,
So if
but
we go
you're massive.
strongest,
So.
I win.
But there we go.
Going pound for pound, this might be like a debate that will happen later. But I'll probably give pound for pound to either TJ or Pasquale.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Ralph does not want to hear that answer right now.
Well, we'll maybe clip this up and put it out on the Instagram feed and let the lads debate it themselves.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right. I've already answered that question. Here we go. Pasquale Landolfi has been in touch on Instagram. He wants to know, speaking of Pasquale, how do bell peppers in the States compare to the ones in the UK?
No backstory, apparently. This is just a random question
Another
from Pasquale.
weight room discussion, is it, Brad?
No, so Pasquale and I talk a lot about what we cook at home. He cooks pasta all the time, but every time he asks me like, "What'd you cook last night?" Usually bell peppers are somewhere involved. But there's no big difference in what the bell peppers are like here and there. Biggest thing that I miss out on is fresh jalapenos.
Yeah.
Can't really find those in stores here, but there's no big difference, Pasquale.
You know the difference between bell peppers, though, if they've got 4 notches on the bottom or if they've got 3 notches on the bottom. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, isn't it supposed to be between female and male
Yeah, and
bell peppers?
Yeah, that's it. And the 3 are sweeter, I think, aren't they? Is that right? Do you know that, Joe?
I don't know. Can producer Dan tell us? Producer Dan's going to tap into Google right now.
I'll have a look.
If that's, I always come out with something random that probably is or isn't true. So hopefully this one's true.
So on Google, the first thing you put in, the ones with 4 bumps are female, and those with 3 are male.
Wow.
The female peppers are full of seeds, but sweeter and better for eating raw, and the males are better for cooking.
Oh, my goodness.
Did I get it the wrong way around? No, I got it the right way around.
Amazing.
I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
which way you got it round, but there we go.
You literally learn. If you listen to the Flyers podcast, you get your Flyers fix, you have a bit of fun, a bit of banter, talk about the games, but also you learn a fact of the week.
A nonsense fact of the week, though.
and that is a whole bunch of nonsense right there for you. So if you listen, if you've made it this far through the podcast, little stat there for you. Great.
MX_18W wants to know how much can you bench?
Good question.
So being a basketball player, we don't really do like a 1 rep max. A lot of our training is either explosive or through summers, you do a lot more volume training. So I actually have no idea what a max bench is, but I can do a push up at my weight. So that's pretty good.
Can you do a pull up?
I can.
How many?
No idea.
Like that.
Mario0BB on IG. Have you ever tried boxing?
I have not tried boxing.
No? No, you reckon you could take on like the Gypsy King? No?
No. It would definitely be something to, work on. I hear it's great for a basketball trainer just with footwork, but and cardio, but no, I've never considered it.
I always see you on the sidelines pre-game doing your skipping on the jump rope, just looking like a boxer out there, like doing you listen to like Rocky in the headphones at the same time, yeah?
I don't listen. I listen to whatever's playing in the stadium because whatever's playing on in the speakers at SGSYs is going pretty good right now.
Oh, there you go. Good little compliment for Sam there.
Do you know what? You're talking of boxing. The other day, you got to something like you'd had like 16 or 17 rebounds. I can't remember what it was. And we were talking about, and I literally shouted out something about he floats like a butterfly, he stings like a bee. Oh. It's Brad Greene for another 2 points or something. I'm getting well into it, Joe. I'm telling you.
There we go. Great stuff. Amazing. Right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Flyers podcast. It's a good place to wrap things up. Brad, thank you so much for taking time out your busy schedule to join us here in the studio. And best of luck for this weekend's game against Cheshire and also the ENBL game on Tuesday on Halloween against Utenos Juventus.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sam, good episode. What an episode that was.
Great episode. Great guest. A lot of fun, Joel. Enjoyed it a lot.
And we got a good start out of producer Dan over there about bell peppers. So that's the most important part.
No credit. I'm
Dan.
taking no credit for that. I just use Google.
Great stuff. Quick reminder from us, if you are enjoying the Bristol Flyers podcast, to like, comment and subscribe. if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment down here in the comment section. We'll read out as many as we can on future episodes, and leave us a review because we haven't had one of those in a while, and we'll make sure we read that one out as well. Sam, anything else you want to add before we wrap up this week's episode of the show?
I'm very excited to see everyone's Halloween costumes. I want to see the greatest one and win a jersey, but you're not allowed to win, Joe, I'm afraid. So.
Yeah. And you're going as Team Wolf, right?
Well, I haven't still haven't decided it. Why not? It should be fun.
Great stuff. Massive shout out to our podcast partners at WebGains for sponsoring the podcast. But until then, we'll see you same time next week. Let's start that again. Until then, we'll see you same time next week, right here on the Bristol Flyers Podcast.